A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke, chapter 10, verses 25 to 37. The passage is taken from the Message version of the Bible. Just then, a religion scholar stood up with a question to test Jesus. "Teacher, what do I need to do to get eternal life?" He answered, "What's written in God's law? How do you interpret it?" He said, "That you love the Lord your God with all your passion and prayer and muscle and intelligence, and that you love your neighbor as well as you do yourself." "Good answer," said Jesus. "Do it, and you'll live." Looking for a loophole, he asked, "And just how would you define neighbor?" Jesus answered by telling a story. There was once a man traveling from Jerusalem to Jericho. On the way, he was attacked by robbers. They took his clothes, beat him up, and went off, leaving him half dead. Luckily, a priest was on his way down the same road, but when he saw him, he angled a cross to the other side. Then a Levite religious man showed up. He also avoided the injured man. A Samaritan traveling down the road came on him, and when he saw the man's condition, his heart went out to him. He gave him first aid, disinfecting and bandaging his wounds. Then he lifted him onto his donkey, led him to an inn, and made him comfortable. In the morning he took out 2 silver coins and gave them to the innkeeper, saying, "Take good care of him. If it costs any more, put it on my bill. I'll pay you on my way back." What do you think? Which of these 3 became a neighbor to the man attacked by robbers? "The one who treated him kindly," the religion scholar responded. Jesus said, "Go and do the same." The Gospel of the Lord.
Good morning. I am Father Joseph Matthew, and this is Coffee with God. Today, on the 13th of July, we reflect on the Holy Gospel according to St. Luke chapter 10, verses 25 to 37. And we reflect on the theme, Go and do likewise. On this Sunday, Jesus leads us once more along a familiar yet challenging road from Jerusalem to Jericho, not just in geography but in spirit. The parable of the Samaritan, often softened by the adjective good, is not merely about kindness. It is about recognizing the gaze of God in the most unexpected person and discovering in that gaze the path to eternal life. The lawyer's question, "What must I do to inherit eternal life?" is not trivial. It is the most important question anyone can ask. He was not seeking more years on earth, but the kind of life that lasts, the life that flows from God Himself. Jesus, true to the wisdom of the rabbis, turns the question back to him. What does the Torah say? The scholar answers, well, love God with your whole being and love your neighbor as yourself. But then comes the real twist. Who is my neighbor? In the world of that time, the neighbor was often limited to one's kin, tribe, or nation. Jesus refuses that boundary. He answers not with a theory, but with a story. A man robbed and left half dead, and 3 travelers, a priest, a Levite, and a Samaritan. The priest and the Levite see but do not stop. Perhaps they feared ritual impurity. Perhaps they justified their inaction with a duty or fatigue. But in truth, they missed the very heart of the law they studied. That is mercy. Then comes the Samaritan, the heretic, the outsider, the enemy. He too sees, but his gaze is different. The Gospel uses the rare verb splangenisomai. He was moved with compassion, a word reserved almost exclusively for God or Christ in the Scriptures. This Samaritan becomes the image of God's mercy, not because he had the right religion or rituals, but because he saw the suffering man with the eyes of the eternal. What distinguishes him is not the sentimentality, but action. He stops, draws near, binds wounds, pours oil and wine, carries the man, and pays for his healing. Each of his 10 actions echoes the healing mercy of God, who does not count the cost. The Samaritan becomes a neighbor, not because of bloodline, but because of love. Jesus' final question flips everything. Which of these three became a neighbor? The scholar cannot even utter Samaritan. He simply says, the one who showed mercy. Jesus replies, go and do likewise. This parable is a mirror. It asks us, whom do we see? And how do we look? Is our gaze that of the priest, the Levite, distanced, guarded, selective? Or is it the gaze of the Samaritan, attentive, tender, and risk-taking? To love like the Samaritan is to love like God. Where love is found, especially love that crosses barriers and sacrifices comfort, there is God. So today, the road from Jerusalem to Jericho passes through our own lives, and someone is lying by the roadside. The question is no longer, who is my neighbor, but will I become one? Let us go and do likewise.